Alright, fess up. Which one of you is hiding all these gems? No, really, stop hiding them. They're really good. I got 10 more hidden gem manga right here, fresh off the presses and ready to be read by all you lapidaries out there. That's the name for someone who collects gems. Alright, enough with the dumb intro, let's get into the top 10 list. Okay, Satoshi Kon is more known for their work in anime, but they were also always an extremely talented manga artist. This was shown right from the start with their first original manga called Kaikisen. It's a beautifully illustrated story about a seaside town and the legends surrounding mermaids there. It uses this folklore kind of story to express themes of environmentalism, the feeling of not recognizing your hometown as it grows and changes, and how people can grow and change in the same way. The art is mind-blowingly good on even the most mundane pages, and there are some truly stunning pages here that express the mysterious, ethereal beauty of the mermaids. The story really captures the allure of folklore legends and how connected they are to the legitimate, mysterious nature of the ocean. It's also just got great expressive characters and good drama between them, centering around the redevelopment of the small seaside town into more of a tourist attraction. So check this one out if you're a fan of Satoshi Kon or like stories that use classic folklore legends to express themes relevant to modern day life. Ashidaka the Iron Hero has a really fun gimmick that gives its sci-fi world a unique twist. Every human in this world is born with Dr. Octopus-style metal arms on their back that they can use for different things like mobility, combat, or construction. In this world, 1,000 years ago, someone with 100 of these metal arms brought total destruction and chaos, leaving most of the world overrun by robots who roam around in swarms in between the pockets of humanity that survive inside cities. Our main character, Ashidaka, is ostracized for their abnormally large amount of metal arms. People stigmatize the excess arms because they associate them with the 100-armed person who brought about the near end of the world. So Ashidaka had to grow up on the outskirts of the cities with their friend Geiji, surviving by honing their skills and disassembling robots for parts. However, when mysterious forces start turning those robot swarms aggressive, and all the small robots outside the cities start to come together to form one cataclysmic being, it starts to look like the history from 1,000 years ago is repeating itself again. Ashidaka and Geiji find themselves on the front lines of this fight, and the story slowly unfolds from there. The mysteries behind the swarms of robots and this cataclysmic being slowly reveal themselves as the world and lore of Ashidaka the Iron Hero really opens up and develops into a super interesting story. And other than the unique premise and world, I like the slightly unconventional, more rounded line work of the art here. The author excels at drawing action, and the fights use the metal arm abilities in super creative ways. So this manga ends up being a really solid hero's journey with enough tweaks on the formula to make it something really special. So check this one out if you like those episodes of Samurai Jack where you had to fight all those endless swarms of robots, and you're a big fan of Spider-Man too. Okay, no, but really, this is just a great manga, give it a shot. Hakumei to Michoki scratches that itch that I have for seeing mini worlds within our world. You know, stuff like Bug's Life, The Rescuers, or The Secret Life of Arrietty. It's always fun to see all the tiny versions of stuff from our world, or just the cuteness when a character breaks off a crumb of bread and it's the size of their head. Well, anyway, yeah, Hakumei to Michoki is a story like that. It leans hard into satisfying that itch I just mentioned, because it's really just an episodic kind of slice of life story. So most of the fun is just seeing how this tiny world works, or how it interacts with some of the bigger things from real life. Like how in this one story early on, a regular real life bird is viewed as an almost godlike figure. There's also just a lot of fun in the chill moments hanging out in this tiny society. Like one chapter is just about one of the main characters losing their wallet at the flea market and going around and talking to all the vendors they're friends with to track it down. Like all good slice of life type of stories, even something super simple like this really works because you just get to meet a lot of fun characters and see a lot of cute moments in this tiny world that's very well thought out. So yeah, check this one out if you want a fun spin on a slice of life story and you love the creative world building that comes with tiny world stories. 2001 Nights is a collection of really well thought out sci-fi short stories. The storytelling style feels somewhat similar to Ray Bradbury short stories, where it's all about executing a really brain-bending concept in a super compact way while still having enough character development to give you something to emotionally latch onto. Throughout the collection, you get stories like one where people descend into the dark depths of the moon's caverns and discover signs of life. But this story has this awesome emotional core of a strained brother-sister relationship that uses beautiful visual metaphors and artsy storytelling moments to convey a story that has poignant social critiques, compelling emotional drama, and imaginative sci-fi elements. Now, admittedly, not all the stories are bangers, but I was never bored while reading any of them, and the awesome art throughout the whole collection kept me wanting to turn the pages even when some of the stories weren't hitting as hard as the others. So yeah, check this one out if you're a fan of classic sci-fi and want to see that kind of storytelling style done in manga form, or if you just love to see art depicting the wonder of space and the intricate complexity of cool sci-fi tech. Okay, Witch Hat Atelier isn't the most obscure, but it's so good I still felt I had to share it because I think it deserves even more recognition than it's already getting. Now, Witch Hat Atelier isn't gonna blow your mind with its setup. It's a story about witches and wizards, mostly about apprentices becoming witches. However, what will surprise you is just how well executed this premise is and the unexpected places this manga will take you within that premise. This story follows Coco, a regular non-magic user who one day is given the tools to use magic by a mysterious masked figure. Coco ends up using these tools to unwittingly cast forbidden magic that turns her mother to stone. Thankfully, around this time, the wizard Kifri is there to guide Coco on how to use this magic so she can eventually become a full-fledged witch and undo the magic that turned her mom to stone. Okay, that sounds pretty cool, but what's so unexpected or well executed? Well, first off, the art is next level gorgeous, and the settings this manga will take you to are so intriguing and mystical. Then there's the magic system, which is pretty easy to get your head around. However, at the same time, there's still enough strange unknown elements to the magic of the world so that this cool mystery starts to build, and it ends up tying into the overarching plot of discovering who the mysterious masked figure was who gave Coco that book of forbidden magic. Now, when you tie all that together with great characters, cool themes, and a lot of heart, you've really got a classic in the making on your hands. So check this one out if you want to see some of the most beautifully detailed art in any manga you'll ever see within a story of witches and wizards that will simultaneously meet and defy your expectations. Gambling manga are usually not my thing at all, but Usogui has just enough of an original flair that it got me hooked in a way other gambling manga couldn't. First off, the art. It's not gonna be everyone's cup of tea, that's for sure, but you gotta admit the amount of detail and expression is super impressive. I personally love the way the characters warp and change and look totally different from page to page sometimes. It adds this super chaotic energy that the manga uses to really sell the emotions of the moment. More important than the art though is how quickly the gambling matches raise the stakes to an absurdly wild degree, and then somehow they continue to keep raising the intensity again and again to keep you hooked. Now, this manga has over 500 chapters, so admittedly, I haven't read the whole thing, but in the first 100 or so chapters alone, I've seen more wild scenarios than most manga manage in their whole run. You see stuff like a gamble that's basically a bet on who will win in a battle to the death that ends up being highly focused on creative tactics and setting traps. Or there's also a gamble that's just a game of Old Maid, but with missiles poised to launch at Japan if the main character doesn't win. It's just kind of hilariously over the top with its setups, while still being super creative and clever with how the main character outsmarts people to barely inch out victories. So check this one out if you want to see really well-written battles of wit, or you just want to see absurdly over-the-top scenarios and exaggerated character art to match. Kuro is a story that perfectly executes a mysterious atmosphere that's lurking within a happy-go-lucky seeming world. The story follows Coco and her pet cat Kuro, who clearly has something going on with them. But Coco explains away any weirdness she might see with these really funny justifications. So at the beginning of the manga, it feels like an oddball comedy, but Kuro's monstrous appearance is the first clue of many that something is really strange about this world. The more you read, the more you slowly uncover more interesting things about the town Coco lives in and the supernatural elements at play. The mystery is a really good slow burn, and the characters are really fun and charming, so you'll find yourself not wanting to put this one down. As a nice bonus, the whole manga is done in color, which is quite rare and is really a cherry on top of an already great manga. So check this one out if you like being dropped into mysterious worlds where you get a slow drip of tantalizing clues each chapter, and you also want some wholesome monster cat cuteness. Heartgear is a post-apocalyptic story where humanity has pretty much been wiped out, and all that's left to wander the earth are the countless kinds of sentient robots that humans made. Every robot has their own base program that drives them, whether that be combat, farming, or research, and most of the robots carry out their days continuing to try and do those things even though there's no longer any humans to really do them for. One such research robot stumbles upon a human baby who mysteriously crash lands in a shuttle onto their land. Their nature as a research robot drives them to want to raise this baby to see how they grow and develop, and so the beginning of the story follows this robot raising this supposed last human on Earth and learning life lessons as they bond together. Then one day they stumble upon a really mysterious robot, and it has no base program, which is pretty much unheard of. They take this robot under their wing and teach it to live like they do, but soon after they're all attacked by a robot whose AI is corrupted, and the research robot is destroyed, leaving only their core remaining. This sparks the mysterious newcomer robot known as Chrome and the girl known as Ryou to then set out in the vast and dangerous world to find a way to revive their beloved friend and find out more about this mysterious post-apocalyptic world. Okay, that was a lot of setup just to tell you the basic premise, and it didn't really convey how much heart and levity the manga has behind all that. But I wanted to go through it because I really like the way the beginning of the story unfolds and leads smoothly into the main journey through this super interesting world. Along this journey, the main duo meet a lot of different robots who have different base programs that lead to really intriguing scenarios. The base program storytelling tool allows Heartgear to hyper-focus on certain parts of humanity that are reflected in these robots and makes for a lot of interesting thematic explorations. Plus, in these episodic stops along the way, we get the perfect slow burn of hints and clues to larger overarching narratives and mysteries that makes you not want to put this manga down. So definitely check this one out if you like stories about AI and robots or mysterious post-apocalyptic worlds and you want to see a really well-executed modern take on those kinds of stories. Spirits Flying in the Sky is a collection of short stories that all have a folktale kind of vibe. What this manga really excels at conveying is that weird kind of wholesomeness that's mixed with a bit of freaky horror that a lot of classic folktales have. Like, a story in this collection can just be about this weird creature who steals your stuff, only to come back and give you the dozens of clay pots they made using your stuff. And somehow, even that pretty cute story has a tinge of really eerie creepiness. And now what I love about this collection is that each story has a different level of that eeriness, and they all have super unique vibes and storytelling styles. Some stories take place in modern times, some take place quite far in the past. Some of the stories have pretty coherent themes and characters that are easy to follow, while others feel so steeped in otherworldly folktale lore that they come off as surreal, discombobulating journeys. All of them are super interesting though, and take you into really immersive atmospheres that I really enjoyed. So check this one out if you want to see some really trippy art paired with super unique atmospheres. The Witch and the Beast has stunning art, great pacing, intense action, and an awesome world and premise. This story takes place in a pretty close to modern life world, but with magic and monsters and stuff. Now, this isn't the most surprising thing to see in a manga, but what's awesome is the unique take on these formulas that The Witch and the Beast has. The monsters aren't your typical goblins or dragons you'd see in many witches and wizards type stories, they're more like kaijus. And then the witches aren't exactly what you expect either. They're the villains of this world who stand at the peak of the magic hierarchy. They despise humans and are stupidly powerful. The main story follows two witch hunters, one of whom is trying to lift a witch's curse by tracking down the specific witch who cursed them. The curse that's been put upon them prevents them from staying in their super powerful beast form, and this beast form is pretty much the only thing powerful enough to straight up beat some witches. However, with no leads to where the specific witch who cursed them is at the beginning, they have no choice but to travel from town to town, taking down witches and finding clues. Each town and each witch they come across have really fun, unique story setups and really good episodic character explorations that get you quickly invested in each new mini arc. Okay, so that's the basic premise of what moves the story along, but what I really loved about this manga was the fun character dynamics, the creative differences in the motivations and magic powers of each witch, and the great world building and mystery surrounding the witches and the order of witch hunters. So check this one out if you want an action-packed manga that's on the darker side in tone, which has incredible art and a gripping story. Alright, there you have it. 10 more hidden gem manga to read for when you've already read all the commonly recommended stuff. Hopefully these all get the readership they deserve in the future, whether it be through word of mouth or through some weirdo YouTuber who reads way too much manga. Anyways, hope you liked the video, and please let me know any hidden gem manga that you've been reading in the comments. I would have never found a bunch of the manga on this list if not for the commenters on my previous videos, so I really can't express enough how much I appreciate it when people share the awesome manga they've found. I'm definitely going to be doing more manga videos in the future, so subscribe if you want to see that, and I gotta give a huge shout out to all the people who are already subscribed. I cannot believe I hit 1,000 subscribers so quickly. It's incredible the amount of support y'all are showing. I really appreciate everyone watching, and I hope you have a great day.